Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Jim Masters Show Live. How are you this evening? Good to see all your smiley faces from all around the world. All the lovelies joining us. Good day, good morning, good evening, good night. It depends on where you're located because we have an international audience. And some people watch this series, our entertainment lifestyle talk show series, when it's live on our YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV. Also tonight we're on Facebook as well. So hello to everybody everywhere. It's an international audience. So sometimes it's morning, sometimes it's night. Sometimes if you watch, a lot of people do like to binge watch our show, which is very cool. So many of you tell me that you'll take a weekend and you'll watch all the series of shows that we have. And believe it or not, we have over 235 plus episodes of the Jim Masters Show Live entertainment lifestyle talk show series. And even I'm blown away by that. I can't believe, I'm the one doing it. However, I'm blown away that we've done that many shows with all of you watching and all the host chats we've had and all the different segments we've done. I was looking back at some of the earlier shows on location and food segments, and we were doing comedy and I was telling jokes. We're doing just all kinds of incredible things, and then started bringing in some guests as well. We also still do host chat shows with our viewers. We've got to do another food show too. We did a really cool food show where we spent like 2 hours talking about food and comfort foods and all the foods we love and so much more. Since this is a show that has variety, every night is something different. Every night is something unique. And that's what's great about it. It isn't the same old, same old. The format is, however, we tweak that as well. But the content changes, which is really, really cool. So sometimes we have music, sometimes we have conversation, sometimes we have comedy, sometimes we have inspiring words. We have a whole host of different things and amazing guests that are coming up. Actor, director Eric Tucker is our guest tonight, live and exclusively here on our show. And we welcome him in just a second. And we welcome all of you and you and you and you. It's good to have you with us today. Thanks for joining us on the Jim Masters Show Live. Big day. It's the night before the presidential inauguration, which is happening tomorrow. Big day here in the United States. And there was a very moving and beautiful ceremony that just happened moments ago with President-elect Biden and Jill Biden and Kamala Harris and her husband as well. And that was in front of the reflecting pole, which goes from the Lincoln Memorial to the Washington Monument, with all of these lights and all of these flags. 400,000, I believe, or at least that, marking the 400,000 who have passed in this country alone from COVID-19. So a very beautiful ceremony. You can probably see it. Yolanda Adams sang, and it was just about an hour or so ago. It was just really nice on the eve of a new transition, and hopefully one that, regardless of your political views or who what party you're with, we need peace, we need solace, and we need to move forward big time, and we need it now, not just in this country, but globally. So let's pray for that, right? Let's pray for our new president, vice president, their families, and for everybody here and for everybody globally. Again, regardless of who you voted for, regardless of who your pick is, right now we have to move forward, and let's do it in peace and with blessing and with love, because it hasn't been so hot lately. So we need to have, we got to move forward now. It's time to move forward. New day, new day. Welcome, everybody. Good to see all these happy faces. And Kathy Short says, good evening, Jim and our lovely family. I hope you're having a wonderful day. You as well. It's good to see you. And I'm so happy you're here from Cleveland. And Willie says, good evening, Jim and Lovedies. Have a nice show. Thank you, Willie. Hopefully you'll be watching as well. Mary Bishop. Hello, Jim and all the Lovedies from Mary Bishop in Pine Island, Florida. Maureen is here. Good to see you, Maureen. Good evening. Welcome you. From Portugal, Suzette. Hello, Jim and Eric and Lovedies from Portugal. We love having you here, Suzette. Nice to see you. From Ohio, Christopher Joseph. Welcome, Jimbo and Lovedies. Good to see you, Christopher. Hope you're doing well. From St. Augustine, Florida, another one of our viewers, our fabulous Lovedies. Hello, Jim, and good evening, Lovedies. And nice to see you as well. Welcome, Lovedies. From me and from everybody here, we hope you're having a good day. Sharon DeMaria, who's watching in Connecticut. Happy Tuesday evening, everyone. It's good to see you, Sharon. Maureen says, good evening, Jim, and all my fellow lovelies. I drove home from the hospital today with a big smile on my face, knowing I would be in Lovely Hall from start to finish today. Thank you very much. We appreciate that. You're always a very special lovely, Maureen. We appreciate those words. Merlin is here from Ontario, Canada. We appreciate her being here as well. Hi, Jim and all lovelies. Willie says, hi. Hi, Willie. Hope you're doing well and feeling better there in the Netherlands. Kathleen in New York City is here. Welcome, Kathleen. It's nice to see you as well. Sherry is here. Hello, Jim and lovelies. It's wonderful to be in Lovely Hall with all of you again tonight. I agree. I really look forward to turning the lights on, preparing these shows all day long, and then meeting with you guys all around the world, all of you. Ladies and gentlemen, young and old, all different backgrounds, all zip codes. It's just amazing. It really is. We've created a really unique, special, warm, and inviting place here, filled with light, love, and levity. And of course, you know what, right? Levity. I already told our guest, Eric Tucker, about levity. So he's all prepared for the levity rush. Hello, Jim and everyone from Juanita, who's in South Africa. Bernadette is here. Good to see you, Bernadette. Hi, Jim, and hi, fellow lovelies. It's nice to see you, Bernadette. Hope you guys are doing well. And Maureen says, hello, Jim, Christopher, Linda, Merlin, Juanita, Bernadette, Sharon, and Kathleen. It's nice to see all the everybody, wishing everybody well. Dante CD, he is watching on our YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV. He's checking in from beautiful San Diego, California. Hello, all lovelies. Welcome to Lovely Hall. Hi, Jim Masters. Dante, you know, I credit you as the one who created, I said levity, so I came up with the levity word. And then the viewers said, hey, we're the Lovities. But you were the one who said, this is Lovely Hall. The Jim Master Show Live is Lovely Hall. So I give you that credit for saying that, which I love. Dante CD in San Diego. And also in California is Ann. Ann is here. Hello, everyone. Glad to see you all here. It's a very blustery day here in Southern California. Nice to see you as well. And good evening to Eric. He's a Lovity now. Absolutely. I agree with you, Linda. Hi, Jim and all the Lovities. Hope all of you are doing well. Absolutely. That's Avril Britton, who's watching in Hampshire, United Kingdom. Nice to see you, Avril. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're hanging in there. I know you guys are, I think you're still on a lockdown there, right? I hope you guys are doing well. And yeah, everybody says hopefully. And for Jean is saying that. Good to see you, Jean. Welcome. And good evening to everybody. Love to all the Lovities. Yeah, I love this. This is fantastic. Nice comments coming in. And Wozniak is here. Good evening, Jim and everyone. Nice to see you, Anne. I hope you're doing well as well. And Christine is here. Hi, Jim and lovely friends. Welcome, Eric Tucker, to the show tonight. Nice. I appreciate that. And good stuff. Great comments coming in here. Frances is watching as well. She says, hello, everyone. It's good to see you, Frances, as well. And Christine says, praying for America. I think another food show could be nice for all of us Lovities. Welcome to Lovely Hall, Eric. Nice. Yes. Avril says, yes, lockdown, but all good, Jim. Thank you. Terrific. I'm glad everything is good there in the United Kingdom, you know, as best as it can be under the circumstances. It's been a very unusual time for everybody. And we're so happy that you're here. And I know you have said that this has put some, you know, light and love in your life. And we really appreciate that fact that, you know, you are spending the time with us as often as you do. 235 plus shows, and it's all positivity here on the show. My very special guest is actor and director Eric Tucker, and Eric is considered America's best classical stage director, according to the Wall Street Journal. And he's won countless awards, and he's been involved in so many extraordinary productions. And we're going to talk about them. There's some really exciting things that he's working on right now. First, let's welcome him live and direct from New York. Good to have you with us, Eric. Welcome to the show, my friend.
Hi, thank you for having me.
My pleasure, my pleasure. How have you been keeping? Have you been keeping well through all this madness we've been dealing with lately?
Yeah, I can't really complain. I mean, I feel like, you know, every day seems like Groundhog Day. You know, I have a couple of young kids, and so every day it's just like the same thing, just getting through the day since we can't really go anywhere. But because we're all healthy and nobody's sick, I really can't complain. So feeling pretty good and
That's
happy to be a Lovity now.
Yes. What do you think about that? I said
I
there's
love
Emmys,
it.
Emmys and Tonys and
It's so
Grammys,
cool.
Peabodys, Tellys, but now you've got the Lovity, which are
That's right.
your feet tingling? Usually that's what everybody says
Yeah.
happens. Their feet tingle. Willie, who's in Holland, says, "Welcome, Eric, to the Jim Master Show, the best show after this evening. You again, another again in the show. I'm not sure what that means, but the bottom line is she welcomes you from Holland."
Wow, that's amazing.
Welcome, Eric, to the land of Lovity from Kathy Short and Avril Britton in United Kingdom and England. Welcome, Eric. And Anne in Southern California. Welcome, Eric. Great to have you here.
Wow, that's so
And
cool.
Juanita, South Africa, says, welcome to the show, Eric. And Bernadette says, welcome to Lovity Hall. Kathleen says, welcome.
Oh
She's in
my
New York
God.
City. Mary
Thank you.
Bishop in Florida says, welcome, Eric. Merlin in Ontario, Canada says, welcome, Eric, to Lovity Hall. You're now a Lovity. Sherry says, welcome to Lovity Hall, Eric. We're so excited to have you here. Hello. Again, the hello. It's good to see you and good to see everybody that's here. Everybody's welcoming everybody.
That's so nice.
Francis is saying hello, and Dante from San Diego. Hi, Jim and lovely friends. This is Christine. Welcome, Eric Tucker, to the show tonight.
One of
She's
my
welcome
daughters
you as
is named
well.
Francis.
It's Francis, right? Wow.
Yeah.
And Anne Wozniak is saying, good evening, Jim. This is really cool. This is what happens literally every single day on our show. And Christine, welcome to the Jim Master Show Live. Eric, you're now a Lovity. Looking forward to this conversation. Cheers, and Wozniak. Welcome, Eric. So happy to be spending the evening with you and Jim. Dante in San Diego. Welcome, Eric, to Lovity Hall. You're now a full-fledged Lovity.
Nice.
And Kathy Short in Cleveland, Ohio. Welcome, Eric, to the land of Lovity. And there's Francis again with another welcome, Eric. So how does it feel? I mean, already you've earned the status of Lovity.
That's cool. Wow, it really is international. That's amazing. You have people from everywhere.
We really do. It's been a cool experience, and I love it. Let's talk a little bit about some of the things you've been doing to stay busy and connected through all the craziness that we've been experiencing. I mean, obviously you're an actor and director, and you like to be involved with productions and doing your thing and being on stage and all, but that's sort of altered a little bit. But there is virtual that's been coming along too, right?
Yeah, quite a bit of that. And, I have my own company in New York City, a theater company, which keeps me busy a lot of the time, or used to more than it does now because of COVID. But, and so, it was a big deal, I think, for artists all over the country who suddenly were not working, like so many others. I mean, whether you're in the restaurant industry or service industry, or so many people have been out of work when things sort of ground to a halt. But I sort of realized at some point last summer that we probably wouldn't. My company's called Bedlam, that Bedlam wouldn't be putting on a production for a year and a half, maybe 2 years at that point. And so we decided to shoot something, to actually make a TV show that I had this idea about. So that's really what we've been working on in lieu of a stage production. But even that, we're dealing with rules about COVID and how do you do that safely. And we were fortunate that when we were actually shooting, it all went well, and in terms of the COVID stuff. So. But, we really had to kind of bob and weave to figure out what do we do now? How do we stay alive and sort of work and create when we can't go on stage?
Mm-hmm. So how have you been doing that? What are some of the things that you've been doing? And the filming and all, is it happening right there in New York that you're trying to get it done in New York? Yeah.
Well, we shot it. We did that in it's so weird. I can't remember now. October and November, a little bit up into maybe just the beginning of November. So we shot for about a total of 4 or 5 weeks, and half of it was in Queens, in Sunnyside, New York, and then half of it was upstate in a town called Newburgh, New York, which is
Hmm.
about an hour or so away.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so a little bit of both, and that it went well. You know, we had it's a for the for a small budget thing. There were a lot of actors, about 30 actors involved, and then a crew of maybe equal numbers, but just we were able to at least, keep people safe. We had to do testing every 2 days. But at least we were able to get through that shoot and get our content for the first couple episodes of this TV show we're trying to create. So it went well. Now we're in the editing process, but we actually have to do a little bit of a reshoot tomorrow, and a quick thing, but it only involves a couple people. So we were fortunate just to not have any major shutdowns or issues with that, because obviously, every day is money.
And every day the COVID situation continues to change, and there's so many different variables, and now there's new variants, and it's been it just doesn't want to go out to sea. It's still there, but fingers are crossed that things will get better. I think with positivity and hope, and now there's vaccines and all, there is some positivity and a light that is approaching quicker and quicker for all of us, which is a blessing. Tell us about Bedlam. Tell us about, for the viewers, I'm very familiar with it, but for the viewers watching, it's a really cool production.
Yeah, so we're known for with my company, we're known for doing mostly classic material and sort of revitalizing classics and trying to find new ways into them. And we've done, Shakespeare and George Bernard Shaw and Chekhov and all kinds of things. And I had this idea way back before, the pandemic hit, but I never had time to do it because I really spent so much time making theater. But I thought it would be really cool to make an episodic TV show where I took, several different plot lines from Shakespeare's canon and sort of combined them and just created kind of a really large world out of his plays. And I've never seen Shakespeare on TV like that. And I thought, well, it would be a full-on adaptation of maybe taking 2 or 3 each season and kind of, so. Then along comes the pandemic, and I realized we're not doing a play for a while. So I thought, well, maybe my board of directors, would get into this idea of us switching gears, and instead of doing a production on stage, shooting an hour or 2's worth of material for this television show. And they were really excited by it and got behind it, and thought it was a neat way for a theater company to kind of, change, go with the flow and stay alive and make something. So I hadn't written it. I hadn't taken the Shakespeare and actually put it together and started making this. So they gave me the go ahead. This was the beginning of this summer. And I spent about 3 months with a writing partner adapting, putting a season of 8-hour-long episodes down on paper, what this thing could look like, with the aim to shoot in the fall, which we did. And we started raising money for that. And our donors, our sort of regular donors and fans, got really excited about that idea, because we did a reading series every couple weeks on Zoom where we would read plays, and we raised money for organizations that are fighting, injustice and discrimination. We thought that was a good way for us to give back in light of what had happened with George Floyd. And but in terms of doing a project that wasn't, a Zoom project and not on stage, I thought, let's do this TV show. So we basically took King Lear, The Merry Wives of Windsor, and you start getting into Merchant of Venice, and I just combined them into one story with many different characters and put them in the same world, a kind of small-time crime family world. Yeah. And we shot 2 episodes of that. So with the hopes that we'll be able to shoot the rest of them and have a full season, and maybe someone would, pick it up and distribute it. And so that's kind of the gist of it. The idea was to make it I cast people that I felt like could speak the language, and make it sound like really it could work on television. You feel like this is very modern, without messing with the language so much. I mean, we insert modern day colloquialisms and things like that, but we've tried to create our own little genre there to make it very accessible to viewers who may not know Shakespeare. And I think for people who do, they'll just find it kind of cool and a different way to see it. And so that's what we've been working on. And we just called it Bedlam the series, and Bedlam is the name of our theater company. But so far, that's our working title for the TV show. That may change, but
there
so
we go
far,
on the screen. Bedlam the series.
Yeah.
we also have, Eric, a teaser video too that we can show that gives. Do you want to set that up as far as what they're going to see? Yeah.
So, as we're going along editing, we're sort of, as a theater company, we need to always be raising money. So we created this, a friend of ours created this, took some of the stuff, the footage we're working with, and created a teaser just so we could continue using. We were using it on our social media for fundraising. It's not really sort of an official trailer or anything. You won't really hear dialogue. But you get a lot of imagery of some of what's, from these first 2 episodes kind of put together. And that's pretty much it, I think. So maybe it's self-explanatory. I don't know.
To be determined.
Yeah, right.
We'll see what the Lovedies say, right?
Yeah. Right.
Here's the teaser for Bedlam the series. Take a look, folks, and then I'll be back with my special guest, Eric Tucker, in just a second. Enjoy. Great teaser, cool music, nice story. Bedlam, love that word. That's wonderful. Love this. That is cool. So tell us, the music that you use, where did that come from?
It was just something that
created.
My friend Damon, who put that together, found it's something that we could use without too much royalties and copyright.
Yes.
So it was really for that. And we felt like it kind of fit the vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Juanita in South Africa says, looks good.
Thank you, Juanita.
Interesting. Mary in Florida looks interesting. June, of course, our dear friend, loves it. Merlin, they're loving the music. You may have to use that for the theme of Bedlam.
I know.
They're loving the music. Love this. Great teaser. Cool music. Did you guys also watch the video? They loved the music.
Yeah.
There was video also. It was really cool the way it was edited. I mean, it really gave you like a good variety of scenes.
Yeah, yeah, he did a good job. He's a really funny guy and a great he's actually a stand-up comedian and so you can really see it. I feel like I see a lot of his humor in the way he sort of edited that together, but he's great. And so, that was really helpful to have that because people are they knew we were shooting it, and then it was nice to have something to give people to kind of help us along when we were in our fall sort of fundraising mode. But we're getting close to kind of getting to the end of editing the first episode and having a final, before it goes to coloring and sound design and all that. So it's it's a process. It takes a while.
Tell me about it. Absolutely. Where do you hope that it appears? Like a Netflix, Amazon Prime type of situation, or traditional television, or online, all of the above?
I think it would. That's a good question because originally I just thought, well, hey, let's shoot this thing and make our own. We'll make a web series, And then as we were, we ended up putting a decent amount of money into in terms of like the camera that it was shot on and the DP we hired and all that kind of stuff. And so
the quality of what I just saw does look very film-esque, very television. Yeah.
Yeah. And what you're seeing is pre-colorization or sound, it's not, that's really,
it looks good.
Raw footage, just with a little bit of help with the color and stuff. So once
even
it's through,
that's way above even what you see online these days.
Yeah. Well, I hope so. I mean, now our plan A is, sure, we'd love it if Netflix liked it or one of those platforms would distribute it, because I don't think there's anything quite like it in terms of just for what it is. I think it couldn't be on network television just because there's cursing and there's sort of modern, it's a very modern feeling thing.
A little edge to it.
Yeah, it's definitely got, So we'll see. I mean, it may end up that we release it as a web series, and then maybe then after someone wants to pick it up. I don't know, but
the softened version.
Yeah, right.
In the family hour.
Yeah.
That is funny. Tell us again about the germ of the idea for Bedlam. It really is quite unique, and it's had its various iterations along the way, right?
Yeah, I mean you mean just for the TV show itself?
Or even before, just the concept before you came to the point of saying, you know what, maybe we should turn it into a television show more where it was geared towards stage.
Well, I mean, yes, actually, that's a good question too, because at first I was I had been working on and with our company, we've done some workshopping of King Lear just to kind of feel out like what would our version of King Lear be before we go into production, go into rehearsal. So we workshopped it, and then I had the opportunity to do a sort of tester production of it out of town, and that was helpful. And then it just happens that a few years back, I had done a 3-person production of The Merry Wives of Windsor. And there was something about the world that I set that in, and then the way this Lear ended up, that I started thinking, maybe I could combine these into a kind of epic, sort of weird adaptation of, make one play out of these two, or maybe a 2-parter or something where these are really, these plots are interwoven and they share the same world. And I started liking that idea. And then, so really what this first season of the TV show would be, it really comes out of some stage productions that in sort of the way those stage productions were, in terms of the feel of the world and even some of the in the TV show, King Lear is played by a woman who you see in the poster there, and you saw her in the teaser probably a lot, a woman named Zuzanna Shutkowski. She's a phenomenal actor that I work with a lot, and she played Lear for me on stage, and I thought, oh, she's perfect. And I mean, she nailed it. It was amazing. And so I thought she has to do it in the show. So that all came from, it kind of was after a few years of working on these separate plays, I thought, well, those are the ones I'll start with to combine for this TV series and see if that works. With the thought that if we were able to go like do more seasons, if it somehow picked up or we had the money to continue making them, other Shakespeare plays would come into it. I mean, you could go for quite, there's quite a few Shakespeare plays, so you could do 5, 6 seasons, I would think, of the show, and I think it could be kind of fun. Fingers crossed. I don't know.
Yeah. One of our viewers up in Canada, Merlin, I think she had asked Eric, she's in capital letters. She says, Eric, you are sitting in the dark a lot.
Yeah, I'm trying to move in my head in front of the lamp behind me because it seems like that's better.
She's our lighting director, I guess.
Yeah.
If you like Shakespeare, have you ever been to Stratford Festival in Stratford, Ontario?
Yes.
You've been to it?
Yeah, I love that place. Yeah, I mean, most of the people that I, of course, know that love Shakespeare or work in Shakespeare have certainly either worked at Stratford or have been there and seen shows. I mean, it's an amazing place.
Tell us about, the affinity that you have personally for Shakespeare, that you wanted to sort of develop this whole concept and this idea. You've had an affinity for the works of Shakespeare, I guess, early on. What were some of those early introductions for you?
My first introduction was, I had seen some of the films early, and of course we studied it in school, which is always problematic depending on how they decide to teach it, because it can be a real bore in school if the right people aren't teaching it. It can really turn kids off, I think. It becomes too sort of, it's almost like you're reading something historical or very dry if you don't, it's really meant to be read aloud and performed. And so
you mean it's kind of like math?
Yeah. Yes.
Or the way math used to be taught, but now math is very colorful and computer and imagery and everything. But years ago, it was very dry the way it was taught.
Yeah, I think the same can be said for Shakespeare. I mean, in particular, when you're you're in school and you're reading Julius Caesar, which is one they usually introduce, right, to kids, and it's tough. It's tough, and I also think, to be quite honest, Shakespeare's very body. It's these are he writes people. He writes 3-dimensional human beings, and so they're very complex. Yeah. And when you start getting into that, if you don't try to sort of make it all rated G, it actually is very interesting stuff, and the plots are amazing. And so you have to get kids at the right age into it when they're mature enough to get all that and know that it's actually exciting. But my first real introduction to it was in college. I started working on scenes from Romeo and Juliet in a class, and I just fell in love with it. For me, it was the language. I feel like a lot of the people I talk to who kind of fall in love with Shakespeare and really want to work on it, it's the language that hits you first, because nobody quite writes like that. I mean, there are other writers who write in iambic pentameter, obviously, but Shakespeare does it best, and so it's sort of unmatchable, and it really is the language, and then the fact that they sort of continue to speak to us after all these years is remarkable. They don't get old because they're always current, and the characters are so fleshed out. They're amazing, and so it just so happened that I had a lot of that early on in college and in grad school, and so then I just liked doing a lot of it, and I kind of became known for that work and other classical work. And that's probably a lot of my resume is that kind of stuff. But I certainly love other writers and modern writers, but Shakespeare's something, it feels like I always am wanting to return to it, no matter what, if I'm working on other things. It's spectacular.
What did you learn first, the acting part or the directing? Was one before the other, the chicken before the egg scenario for you?
Yeah, I actually always just thought I would be an actor. I went to, I mostly acted in college. I did a little directing and I loved it. I felt I always had a real opinion about what I wanted to see and how to see it. But I just kept thinking I would be an actor, and so that's sort of what I was pursuing. I got a master's degree in acting, an MFA, and but again was always directing. And then when I got out of school, I produced a lot of my own work. I would just sort of put up a production and direct it and act in it with people I knew, and little by little I would get, people would see the work, I'd get offers, and directing sort of took over and was how I was paying the bills. So that I for many years now, I've really done more of that than act. And mostly if I act, it's for my own company. When I'm freelance directing, I'm directing for other people. And so acting really came first, but I think directing was the thing I've become really known for. I'm probably better at than acting. So
within the world of acting, tell us about some of the productions that you had an opportunity to participate in.
Well, I mean, in the last 8 or 9 years, what's been nice is that because of some of the productions I've done with my own company, I mean, I've been able to, I've played Hamlet off Broadway and been able to do Pygmalion, which is the play that My Fair Lady's based on, also with our company off Broadway, and playing Henry Higgins, and just a lot of we've done a lot of plays where there'll be 4 or 5 of us playing like 30 roles. So it's been it's been fun to be able to be in something like St. Joan, which is a great George Bernard Shaw play, and play 6 or 7 characters. That kind of work's been very satisfying. I've really loved that. And, my wife is a wonderful actress and acts with the company as well as working on the staff of the company. But our latest production just before COVID hit was The Crucible, Arthur Miller's.
Oh yeah, it's a great one.
Yeah, it's amazing. We did it in Boston, and then we brought it to New York, and my wife got a lot of notices for that because for playing Elizabeth Proctor, and that was a fun one to be in. It's I started out in college doing a lot of directing plays and being in them myself, which I love. Now, as I'm getting older, I don't enjoy that so much anymore because it's just, when you're directing something, you just don't have time to think about acting until it's like opening night. And then it's sort of too late. Then I spend the rest of the run figuring it all out as the actor when I should have figured it out in rehearsal, but I was too busy directing. So it's not so much fun anymore. I don't know why I keep doing it, but I keep doing it. But
how about acting and directing at the same time, being the actor and the director?
Well, it's just, it's a lot of, it just creates a lot of work because you got to memorize the lines and you want to try to be in the scene, but and you know what the funny thing is, I think when you're directing and acting at the same time, you spend a lot of time thinking, okay, it's my turn to get up. Let's skip that part and move on to the next thing. I'll get that later. And you just keep kind of sidelining yourself as the actor because you want to work on everything else and you're not really ready to work on yourself. So it's hard, but it's fun to have a company and have a group of people you like working with, and it feels like a team sport. So that's pretty satisfying, and so that's why I keep doing it. Acting in my own productions.
Exactly. Tell us about, and you have more control when you have the opportunity to have your own company in that way. It's your vision and your dream. Tell us about the people that you have surrounding you, because obviously it takes a village of people to pull these things off, and also some of the actors and performers that you have in Bedlam. Well,
we're a small full-time staff. There's only 3 of us full-time, and then we have 2 part-time, and then we have various people who sort of volunteer or intern, kind of coming in and out. And we actually have 3 part-time. So and it's a nice thing to have a small staff, but it's also, we have really, really great people. And so that's very helpful. Because there's there's a lot of work. You're sort of constantly fundraising, that whole thing when you're a nonprofit. But the actors, many of the actors you see in that teaser are people who do a lot of work on stage in our shows. And what's kind of cool about our shows is that you'll always see regulars, and then there's always a few new people, which is nice. So we're constantly bringing in new people, and then there are ones who people in the city really know from lots of productions, and so it's like a family. It's like a little family, and right now we just happen to have a rotating group of really, really, really talented and diverse people. And I like that. I'm proud of that. They're people who are all wonderful collaborators. They're great team players. It's fun to be in a room with them, and yet they also really bring it. They're incredibly talented actors, and who love, a lot of actors are really, people are always sort of really shooting for TV and film, but these are actors who many get to do a lot of TV and film, but they love theater. They want to be there because they love it, not just a gig between film gigs or TV gigs. They really love doing theater, and so that's been we tend to, I try to direct in a way that makes it very collaborative so that everybody feels they have a piece of it. I don't really go in thinking, well, I know all the answers, or I know exactly what this is going to look like. I really want the input, and I want the actors to kind of feel like they can make choices and have ideas, and that's more enjoyable for me. And so that by the time we get to opening night, they feel like it's theirs, not just mine. And I sort of told them everything to do. So I feel like what we've created is over the last many years is a team, more so than just me as the director coming in with the master plan.
Which is great. Absolutely. And it really is a team. Like I said, it takes a village, and, you bounce around ideas. And how long ago was Bedlam even dreamed up and thought about?
2012 was when we were founded. So it's young. We've only been around for that long. And I had moved back, I think the year before, maybe. I was living in Los Angeles. I came back to New York, and I knew I'd wanted to have a company to kind of do my own stuff. And so you kind of wait till you find the right people you want to start with. And I did. And then, we did our first production, and luckily we've been fortunate that the reviews were good for us early on. And, in New York, there's a lot to see. So you kind of have to find a way to get those, you got to get the notices, get the reviews, and get attention. Yeah. And we were fortunate to do that and have been able to stay around. But it's, now, of course, I mean, whoever dreamed that, we'd just be, that everybody all at once would be laid off from that kind of work.
Right. Yeah. What do you see as hope, progress, any positivity with it? Are you in the same position as those who are dependent on going into a theater where there's seating all next to each other and they got to try to figure that out? Are you, or because you're working on it being geared now more towards television, you might be able to pick up with it a little bit sooner than those who are dependent on going on stages with audiences right there? It's a whole other world there. They're scrambling to figure out how they're going to do all of that. Movie theaters and Broadway and everywhere else. It's a whole other ball of wax.
Well, in the end, we are chartered as a theater company, so we'll have to go back to theater. But I mean, it's a good question. I think we don't, fortunately, in a time like this, we don't own a building, so we rent the spaces that we want to perform in around the city. And so when we're ready, when it feels like people are going back to the theater, we'll put on a show again. I'm hoping this fall, or in the fall of 21, we'll be able to do that. I would think that it certainly will be easier for smaller venues, the kind we're used to being in, that are off-Broadway houses or even off-Broadway houses, because there's not as much seating to begin with. And so it's a little more affordable if you have to do a quarter house or a third house and spread people out than, say, Broadway shows are expensive. And so they need to hit a certain percentage for seating to make, to be able to survive. And it's harder for the Broadway shows. And I really hope that at least by the fall, they can come back, because so many people depend on it and it brings so much to the city. But we will have to deal with that if we want to put on a show in the fall and really get in the venue, or the right venue. And, we're kind of known for doing a lot of the time very bare bones work. We do a lot of stuff that's very minimalistic, that's just the actors in a room with as few props as possible, and to really hit the audience's imagination. And so for us, it's conceivable to do a show in a smaller venue with fewer people in attendance without a lot of overhead. So we might, depending on how the vaccines do and all that, maybe people will trust going back to the theater by the fall. I don't know.
Yeah.
I sure hope so, because we need to get back to work. Everybody does.
Well, I've been saying on this show and elsewhere in my professional work too, I think really the only people that could have scripted any of this that went on and continues is Rod Serling, Stephen King, or Steven Spielberg. Right? Those would be the three that would have dreamed up pandemic, economic, political, and societal.
Yeah.
And do it all at once, and do it when it's the start of a new decade too. Because 2020 just sounded so nice, didn't it?
Yeah.
2020. It sounded better than 2019 or even 2021. 2020. Yeah. However, it's only a number. I know it's really interesting. So, again, fingers crossed and keep moving forward, keep moving forward. How did you get into the industry, even in the beginning, growing up? Did you have family and other, sources of inspiration, people that were guiding you along?
Not really. Nobody in my family acted or did theater or anything like that. Or I think where my love of it really started with just movies. I mean, I just was obsessed with, I loved movies as growing up, and I really loved, I kind of glommed on to really wonderful performances and the actors that I liked. And I just always thought that what they could do was so amazing. And so I just always felt that I just wanted to act. It was a thing that I never really took it seriously, though. I didn't think that's what I would do, and I didn't do it as a child. It wasn't really, I didn't get serious. I didn't do it, sort of get into it a little till high school, but I always thought I was going to go into politics or law or something like that, which seems so funny now, given the way the world is. But and then when I went to college,
if you went into politics, you'd be bald right now, probably.
Yes. Yeah. Just in a straitjacket. And then just where I went, I just started doing it in college as my major, and always loved it. So I didn't really have anyone pushing me to it. I was fortunate that my parents were like, "Oh, that's what you're going to do," but then they didn't really. I didn't have anybody also on the other end holding me back, which can happen. People say, why don't you do something that makes money? Which is true. Why didn't I? But it's just where I went. So I still really, I love theater and what theater can do, but equally I love film and, what that can do. And it's kind of cool. They're so different, and you can, deal with so many different things. But I've just been fortunate to be able to keep doing it, and fortunately I've had the directing as a part of my life that so that I can really work. I mean, that's been something that's really carried me professionally. So I feel lucky in that.
Yeah. You have a real obvious love of theater
Yeah,
um, first,
yeah.
but are you enjoying the television side of things
Oh,
and
I love it.
dabbling? Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
I love it. It's
me
so
too.
fun to get to just work on camera. Yeah, it's a whole, yeah, I really do love it. I love the process. It's funny you asked that because I feel like in the theater when we get to tech, when you're done with the main rehearsal period and you're going into the technical rehearsals where you're adding the lights and costumes and all that, you're always down. It's always a rush for time, right? Like you just want more time, and you're dealing with getting the thing up for an audience, right? But
Right.
not until I was on the other side of the camera, because I've done on camera acting, but this was my first time directing behind the camera, which I've always wanted to do. Not till then did I really think, oh my God, I can't ever complain again, even in tech rehearsals in the theater, because I feel like I have so much time now there. I mean, in TV and film, it's down to the minute. Just like,
Okay. Yeah,
you
yeah.
do it, but it's like, I really had an appreciation for the time I have in the theater, because
Very
in films,
time
no time.
sensitive. Right.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's
Right.
crazy
Yeah.
because it's so expensive. So, but I love it. It was so fulfilling to be shooting. Yeah.
Is
So,
that something that you see as an avenue for you, even individually, to pursue? Um, if somebody had said, "Hey, we want to have you come in and do some directing for an existing television show or something," would you do that?
oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I would love that. I, I really, because I mean, I've been doing theater for many, many years. So just to have something else that is as fulfilling, it's nice to branch out. So yes, for sure.
How about writing too? Do you enjoy writing?
I do. I mean, I don't consider myself a writer. I've adapted like what you're watching. This thing's going to be, it's really mostly Shakespeare's language, just all sort of mixed up and pulled together, but it's in different scenes and whatever. It's really an adaptation. I don't consider myself a writer, to write something from the ground up. That's not my forte, you
Look what
know?
we found. Who's
Oh
that young guy
God.
there?
Oh my God. That's an old headshot from Los Angeles. It's so old.
Actually,
That is
it looks like it would be like you're a character on a soap opera, maybe. You
Yeah,
know,
that's the thing.
the
It's
young
from,
doctor on Another World or something, or General Hospital, maybe.
yes. Oh my gosh.
That's from LA, huh?
Yeah, that was when that was an LA headshot from years ago. Years ago. Oh my gosh.
Where were you from originally?
Well, I was born in Virginia, but
Virginia.
mostly raised in Idaho. And I
Idaho,
got
really?
family in both, but yeah. Yeah.
How did any of the, Virginia, Idaho, any of that add to your sensibilities or vision or any of that? Did that influence you on anything? Just your upbringing, your background, anything in terms of the work and
I, I don't know. When I was young, my parents didn't take me to plays or things like that. I didn't, it really was just things that I would see on the screen. And so, but I think there is something to being brought up in I was brought up in a small town, so I didn't know the city in New York City. I'd never been to New York City until I was in college, and things like that. So I think there's something to being brought up in a small town and really, I was obsessed with I read voraciously. I read lots of books, constantly reading, novels. I mean, reading fiction, was the thing. And so I was really into storytelling and imagining those, how those things would come to life. And so I think it really came out of that. And I feel like, I don't know, a lot of people who end up being artistic or doing stuff like that, I think you're kind of in your head a lot, or artists are in their head, or certainly people who maybe write or direct or paint, or I don't know, whatever, that when you're sort of
yeah,
making something, you're just kind of in your head. And I was very much that way as a kid. I think it's just kind of, you sort of
you
end up.
created your own world of
Yeah.
imagination.
Yeah. I came from a broken home, and, I think you sort of go to where you need to go, to kind of escape. Um, and that was the way it was for me, because I didn't, again, it was weird. I wasn't exposed to theater or, anything like that. Not a lot.
Yeah.
Until I got to New York. I mean, in college, certainly I did it, but then really seeing lots of great theater and stuff. So, I don't know. It'd be interesting. That's a very interesting thing, how people end up where they are, and how, their upbringing, is everything, which I think about a lot now because I have 2 little kids. So I'm always thinking about that,
Absolutely.
how not to mess them up.
How not to.
Right.
Exactly. How old are they?
So we have a little girl who's going to be 4 in April, and another who is going to be 2 on Friday.
Wow. Are they showing any artistic, characteristics?
Yes,
they are.
Very much so. Well, maybe that's not unique at that age, but they're obviously dramatic. Get several major breakdowns a day. But besides that, no, they do actually. They love to. They're kind of little performers. It makes me wonder, if that's what they'll grow up to be. But it's such a tough business. I mean, it's like you're just constantly.
We make it look a lot easier and smoother and effortless than it really is.
Yeah.
On any level, even doing this show. I mean, we make it look easy and smooth because we want to take people away. We want them to have their Calgon moment. We want them to take them away from their problems and concerns of the day. While we present what we present and do, share our talents with the world and all.
It's a lot of work. Yeah.
What are some things you've learned about yourself being in the industry and doing the work that you do?
Oh, that's a good question. I have to say, I think the big one is patience. Patience, but also I think, Jim, not like, because you're right. It's like we want it to be a certain way. We want people we don't want them to feel uncomfortable. So we want it to be smooth for the audience, and we want them to be able to not be pulled out of the thing. We want to pull them in, and you're totally right about that. And I feel like you can get caught up in that as a perfectionist. And when something doesn't go right, you lose your mind. And I've really had to learn to just be patient, and also to put it in perspective. Like I'm just making plays. It's okay. It's not. If something goes wrong, you roll with it. And just to kind of to ease back on my own obsessiveness, or whatever you want to say, to kind of get to a certain place. I mean, I still always try to make it as great as it can be, everything I'm doing, but I just try to have more patience with people around me, with myself, and to put it in the right perspective, I guess. That really came in more into focus when I had my first kid, because you have a child and then everything, all your priorities shift away and down, and your child becomes number one. And that really helped. It's like it's like an opening night of a play is not going to be quite as, all consuming, when at the same time, you're changing a diaper and worrying about, I got to feed this child and take care of them. So I think it's priorities, and just, just learning to, really be a good collaborator, and try to take care of people too. You know what I mean? Like the people you're working with. And
right. Exactly.
Yes.
Right. Well, what I told a friend, matter of fact, I said it to one of the guests on Saturday, as a singer, and he said he's very, very hung up on perfection, striving perfection, and everything for him has to be perfect. He requires it for him to operate. And he said he's going to a little therapy dealing with that too, to try to loosen up, I guess, on some of that. I think these industries do attract people who try to create it, who try to maybe make the world seem maybe a little bit sweeter than it is, a little bit less, crazy than it already is.
Yeah. Yeah.
But through the entertainment and through just escapism or whatever it may be, which is all fantastic. I
Yeah.
love that. At the same time, what I told him was, I said, why don't you try this? I said, why don't you, I think we've all had to do it from time to time. Instead of saying perfectionism, striving for perfect, because perfect is a really tough, claustrophobic, super high expectation, leaving room for
Yeah.
major disappointment if it doesn't meet it, sort of thing. Maybe you can come up with another word that is similar to perfection, and that'll still allow you to strive to be, as good as possible and give it your all and strive for the best. And that would be striving, instead of for perfection, striving for excellence. And then he said, I never thought of that. I never thought of that. That just hearing the word excellence versus perfect sort of lowers the blood pressure. It lowers, the self-imposed demand. It's going to drive you, but still at the same time, there's something very about the word, I'm striving for excellence. There's a quality quotient that's connected with the word excellence, where perfect is can be very boxed in, because everybody has their definition of perfect too.
Yeah.
So, but if striving for excellence, it's like you're striving for the best, striving for quality. So that might be something that
I think that's great advice, because I think it's never perfect. You just can't get that anyway.
No.
You know what I mean? So it's almost like you're setting it too high, like you're bound to fail, because you never feel something's perfect. And even like doing theater, you're doing it every night. You go out, there's always something you wish you would have been better. So I think that's brilliant advice.
Excellent.
I remember that. Thank you.
There was another piece of advice I told another friend. And I said to this other friend who works in retail, I said, well, actually, I posted this maybe about a year or so ago, just haphazardly on Facebook, just to see reaction and just to see what, people would say and, what they would think. And that was, I said, when did we ever, start saying no problem when we were saying you're welcome to somebody? So if you thanked me for something I said or did on your behalf, and I said, no problem. I said, when did that, I just wanted to figure out, when did that begin? Because it's prevalent and a lot of people say it and you hear it all the time. And usually when it's said, it's sort of like a throwaway kind of thing. It's not as warm as you're welcome. It's no problem. Almost like as if it's no skin off the back, or it would have been a problem. It could have been a problem for me. So I threw that out there, and I said, I've not found myself saying no problem. For some reason, I don't know. It just never, got into my vocabulary. No problem. I'll usually say the thing I go to is my pleasure. So if you're thanking me for holding the door or going to pick up the mail or doing some great thing or saying something positive to you, and you say, thanks, Jim, I'll say, my pleasure, because it was my pleasure to do that for you. Otherwise, I couldn't have done it, wouldn't have done it, shouldn't have done it, won't do it. But it wasn't a problem for me to do it, because then why would I have done it? So I threw that out there. It's like, when did it become a problem? Was it a problem? And everybody responded, and they were like, oh my God, I caught myself saying that. Wow, I didn't realize I started saying that. You're right. I like you're welcome, or I like my pleasure better. So I told a friend who works in retail, I said, when you go in tomorrow, I said, say to all of the customers and to say to the management and fellow coworkers, whenever the occasion arises, instead of saying no problem, just throw it out there, see if it works. If it doesn't, you can do whatever you ever want to do, but just test it, see what happens. You never know. Say my pleasure when they thank you for something. Hey, thank you. Oh, thank you. Just say my pleasure. He did that. He went in the next day. He said, my pleasure. He would always say no problem. And what was happening was the customers were thanking him for saying my pleasure.
That's nice.
And the
That's
management
nice.
and the staff were thanking him for saying my pleasure, because it was as if he went the extra mile. He let that
Yeah.
person know that it was
Yeah.
actually a pleasure of mine to do that for you. So sometimes just altering the wording, I mean, my pleasure
Yeah.
sounds far more pleasant to the recipient of the
Oh,
words
yes.
than no
Yeah.
problem. And striving for excellence sounds more breathable than striving for
Yes.
perfect.
Yes. You're so right. Everybody says no problem. It is like a throwaway. You're right. It's not, it doesn't have that warmth of you're welcome, which is the, or my pleasure, or a lot, I hear a lot of, no worries,
That's the other
no
one
problem,
too.
no worries. Yeah. They feel like a throwaway.
I
You're
wasn't
totally
worried. I didn't think it was a problem.
right.
It was my pleasure.
You said I was
Yeah,
right.
I enjoyed doing it.
Yeah.
Isn't that something? Yeah, those are
That's
two
really good advice. I
recent
love that.
ones that I thought about, was the perfection into excellence, and then the no problem to
Mhm.
my pleasure. And I tell you, he didn't go back to saying no problem. He says my pleasure all the
Mhm.
time now. Yeah. And
I think that's especially great for retail, man.
yeah, Frances says she likes excellence is a good word. No problem turned out to be a quicker answer to get you out of there and cut you off in conversation. I do not like when someone says no problem. It's a brush off. It does come
Yes.
off a little bit like a brush
Yeah.
off.
Yeah.
It's like no problem. I mean,
Totally.
and because the way it's said too, it's like no problem. Like, sir,
Right.
wait, you're in customer service? Where's the
Right.
smile? Service with a smile.
Oh, I know,
Do I
right?
get
Or the
a
customer's always right.
Yeah. Does my car get an oil, lube, and filter with that, or no? I got to do it myself.
Yes.
That's
Yep.
fun. That's funny. Tesla Bella, who's also an actress and voiceover artist, said, Eric, who is your favorite actor, theater or television?
Oh, I'm a huge Daniel Day-Lewis fan. I really love that kind of,
Yeah.
that sort of a person like that who's sort of chameleon like, and
Yeah. You know who
I
I also always liked, is no longer with us, unfortunately. Jack Lemmon.
oh, absolutely
Jack Lemmon.
phenomenal.
He had this uncanny way of being able to capture the
Yeah,
everyman
yeah.
and his struggles and day to day, and some of these, like the Out of Towners and some of these incredible movies.
Oh,
Um,
yes.
he's always
And
been one
so
of my,
truthful. Just, I mean, you believe everything comes out of his mouth as an actor. There's nothing phony going on. He was brilliant, just brilliant.
yeah. What was the movie he was in with Anne Bancroft, where he lost the job and he was going crazy in his apartment?
Yes.
The Prisoner of 42nd Avenue,
Yes.
or The Prisoner of Second Avenue. And he's with Anne Bancroft as
Yes.
his wife, and that is
So good.
hysterical. Yeah,
Yeah. Even a lot of his like his performance in I mean in later years, his performance in the
grumpy
Mammoth.
old men, grumpy old men.
Well, I was thinking of the Mammoth play that's also was made into a
Oh
movie with
yeah,
Pacino and him, and
yeah.
for some reason the name's escaping me.
He was
It's
in the
one of
China Syndrome too, with Jane
yes, yeah.
Fonda. I mean, he incredible dramatic
Some
roles
like
as
it
well.
not. I
Yes.
mean, his work was incredible,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
really, really gifted actor.
How about female actresses?
Well, I mean, maybe it's just obvious. I grew up always being a Meryl Streep fan because, again, I liked that kind of chameleon like thing. And but I mean, there are so many. I love Viola Davis.
Terrific.
Um,
Yeah.
she's just so unbelievable. And I love Annette Bening. I think she, in terms of some of these actors that have been around a while, I think she's kind of amazing.
Were you a
Um,
Katharine Hepburn fan as well?
oh, yeah. Yeah, well, you're bringing up really great
The
throwbacks.
classics.
I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, of course. I mean, she was amazing, right? I mean, from that era, Betty Davis, all those. I mean, just so many
Even
great.
even Joan Crawford too. Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, totally.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, Yeah, it's an amazing thing to see people who can just do it and make it look easy. It's the thing you were saying earlier, how sometimes, I mean, I know, but these people put a lot of work into it. The people we're naming, I'm sure it's not like it's just easy, but they make it, they're able to be so honest and so truthful as actors that you don't feel like they're acting. That's really that's when it's really in its sweet spot.
You believe that those people are those people, and sometimes
Yes.
when people see them in the supermarket, I forgot somebody. I had actor Kevin Sizemore was on just a couple of
Oh.
weeks ago, and he was talking about how he was in. There's a couple of different roles he was in, but one of them was CBS's Under the Dome, which was the
Hmm.
Stephen King adaptation. Um, and a woman came up to him in the supermarket and she was getting mad at him and all of this. And he said, Madam, I'm an actor. That's just a role. That's not me. That I'm just playing that mean sheriff. That's not me.
Well,
Because
that's the
sometimes
biggest compliment you could get,
people,
right?
right, they will come up and, a lot of people have been hit with pocketbooks and especially the soap opera actors.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I
How
guess you really
how
done your
could
job.
you cheat on her? What do
Yes.
you whack with the pocketbook in the supermarket? The soap operas,
But I guess when you really can blur
He's
the
like,
lines between real,
I'm just acting.
that's crazy.
I'm not really that guy.
Oh my God.
Isn't that funny?
Maybe that's what reality TV's done too. It's like everything's, I don't know. It's,
And the thing is, in reality TV, those people are really doing it to each other. It's not like they're even on a soap opera. They're really saying those
yeah,
things and flipping
right.
tables and doing all
Yeah.
of that. And uh, the world's gone mad. There's a great movie. It's a mad, 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 mad,
It's
mad
mad.
world.
Yes.
Everybody who was anybody was in that one.
Was in that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The movies like that. And I was thinking of this. What's that other, the Cannonball Run? Do you remember
Mm-hmm.
those movies, Cannonball Run? I think they're remaking those. Or the first one, they're going to do a remake with all, kind of lots of modern day stars now doing the Cannonball Run.
That's what I heard. Absolutely. Yeah. And sometimes, I mean, I know they did a remake of The Out of Towners, which Jack Lemmon and Sandy Dennis were in, and they did it, I think, with
Yeah.
it's a Goldie Hawn and Steve Martin. And not as good because there was something about Sandy Dennis, Jack
Yeah.
Lemmon, 1969, New York City.
Yeah.
There's just something, Neil Simon's music.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
Quincy Jones's music, Neil Simon's story. Just that
Yeah.
it was sometimes you can't capture
No.
you can't update it.
Yeah. Remakes so often just don't quite do it. I feel like most of them don't quite live up to the original, and you wonder why would you mess with that? But every now and then I think one probably, you think, oh yeah, you really like. I haven't seen those recent remakes that Kenneth Branagh has done of like Death on the Nile, and he did another one. I feel like he's had two of those old, Hercule Poirot movies that where lots of stars are in them back then, and now he's remade those. I haven't watched those. They seem like they're probably pretty good, but some of the original, sometimes just originals, you can't. Why mess with it? I don't know.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. If people want to learn more about Bedlam and some of the things that you guys are working on, how do they do that? Do you guys have a website?
Yeah, you can go to just bedlam.org. Bedlam.org is our website, and it's got all kinds of stuff. Obviously, about, you can kind of read about all of us who work at Bedlam, but also you can see photos from all the different shows and what we're working on most recently, and it's all there. Yeah, yeah.
What would you say to somebody who's watching now live or maybe on demand later, Eric, and they're considering going into acting or directing, as far as, do you enjoy mentoring others, teaching others, and inspiring others along the way?
Yeah, I think yes, and I guess I think the big thing is if you're thinking about whatever it is in this business, whether it's acting, directing, writing, I think you have to, if you feel like it's the thing you really, 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 really love and want to do and must do, I think you really have to persevere and stick with it. I mean, it most of the time never comes quickly. That level of where you can live on it, or where you might be, you get whatever your level of success is. And I think it's important to know, what you want to get out of it. There's one thing to being rich and famous, but most actors aren't rich and famous. But there are many, 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 many actors working and making a living who nobody knows. And if you're, if you love the work, I think it's knowing where you want to go, what's okay with you, but also sticking with it, that it's going to take time, a lot of work to get there. Lots of auditioning, lots of networking, and just connecting with people. And that takes sometimes years. And if you're willing to put that time in, knowing you might do a lot of other jobs along the way, then it's for you. But instant success, that's rare. So as long as you can stick it out, but I do think most people I know who do decide, I'm just really going to stay with it, they end up working,
Right. It's more of as opposed to one hit wonder and then down, more of a consistency, which is what I've always done. And I've always tried to do in my career is keep because I love it, the work that I do so much, that I want to make sure that we're always doing it. So I'd rather have that consistency, a long spread of time doing it. And you do a lot of different things and you wear a lot of different hats during it, which are great experiences, but still it's all in this forward movement trajectory. And sometimes there are pause moments or whatever goes on, COVID, but still you're, when you look back at your photo album and your body of work and all the reels of work and video and everything, you're kind of like, wow, I forgot I did that too, and I did that, and I worked there, and I was on that, and I was a part of that thing, and that's what's really cool. And consistently, which is amazing. I've been very fortunate. I've never been off the air since college.
Wow, that's amazing.
I was thinking about that the other day. I've never been on a radio station, a TV station, online, on air, other than, of course, a day off or holidays or something, but, not where there's nothing happening or I'm not working on something or with somebody or a company since college. Which is amazing. Well, you just keep moving forward.
You just have to keep at it. I mean, that's all but I do think there are people who, I think people fall, they know, they get into it. And then, if it's not for them, they figure it out and they do something else.
Right.
It's not for everybody.
What would you say is one big surprise that you've learned that people don't really know about it? I mean, obviously they think it's all sometimes glitz and glamour, but there's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, sacrifice, and toil that goes into it.
I think it's that. I think it's just that there's so much work that goes into. It goes back to the thing you said earlier about how we want it to. We make it look easy. We try to make it look easy, but we spend tons and tons of time getting it to the point where it looks easy. Like if you're rehearsing a play, you've spent weeks and weeks developing this thing that people show up at night and they watch, and it hopefully goes very smoothly. But that's just because it's been rehearsed 1,000 times. And so it looks a certain way, but there's a lot of work. I mean, I think of movie actors too, who, I know we see the glitz and glamour when we watch award shows and we see them being interviewed and things, but, there's a lot of work that goes into living that life, all the press junkets they do and the rehearsal and getting, the business end of the business end of this job. There's a lot to that, that it's just a lot of work. And I don't think people always know that, but it's not an easy job.
And then there's people who are very talented at what they do, actor, musician, singer, performer, or anything in life. It doesn't even have to be something like in performance, but they're very talented at what they do, but they're not as smooth about, or they just don't like the public eye part of it.
That's
They
right.
don't, the meet and greet, the gala things, the
Yeah.
shaking hands, and people, reading about themselves, gossip
Mhm.
columns or whatever. They just want to do the craft. They love
Yeah.
the craft, and they're very good at it and very talented in it. But all that other stuff that comes with it, it's not for them.
Yeah.
That can be a tough thing, because oftentimes, you can get pulled in different directions where that demand is there, that in order to do what you do so well and that you love, you have to participate in the other stuff as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately, you do. I mean, things have to get marketed, and there's that whole, you got to get out and talk about it. So I think that's it is hard. I don't sit comfortably with that sort of stuff, like in particular, a lot of the time when you're doing a show, a stage show, there will be nights where you're doing talkbacks with the audience, and those are always, I don't. I mean, I do them, and a lot of times you're getting great questions, and it can end up being really good. But I often go into it feeling anxiety, and it is nice to kind of do your bit and go home, and not have to deal with lots of other stuff. But you're right; it has to be done. I mean, you have to give back in all these other ways, and um, but it's funny how people who oftentimes like being in front of the camera or like being on stage don't actually like attention off those, right? You know what I mean? Like, you don't want to walk into a room of people you don't know at a party, or you don't. I feel like I know so many people. I don't know if you're. I feel like that a lot. Like I'll get like, I don't want to know, I don't want to, I don't want people to sing happy birthday to me, but I like going on stage. I don't know what that is, but I feel like
Oh,
I see it
yeah,
a lot.
like when you're sitting at a Friendlies or something, and they want to happy birthday, and then everybody's
Oh, I
looking.
hate that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not a fan. Yeah, yeah,
Um,
same thing.
yeah.
It's
No,
no, yeah, it's
it's,
well, I've never been like that anyway. I've never burst through a door, even though I'm an on-air person, and say,
yeah.
"Hey, I'm here now. The party's started."
Yeah.
No,
Right.
I've never been like that. I've
Yeah.
just
Me either.
never been, and I've had a couple people ask me, am I like that? I bet, because you're on TV and you're on
Yeah.
radio
Yeah.
and you've done this,
Yeah.
I bet you go to these parties and go to these things and you burst through the door and you're like, hey, Jimmy's
Yeah.
here,
Yeah.
and all that. Not quite. Not quite. I don't, that's just not my style. I just was never like that.
But
I'd
that's
rather,
what's so interesting, because you do come off. I would think you would be good at that, or that you would be that person maybe who's so comfortable with it. But that's just because you're so personable, like on camera. But I think people do. They just assume, well, you
that
must be, because, it's so interesting.
I'd rather be the host than the guest
Oh,
at a,
yeah.
at a
That's
party.
interesting. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah, I like being
Yes.
the
Of
host of the
course.
party more than the guest at the party.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes total sense.
Well, it should, coming from a director too, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I always found it interesting too. It's kind of related, but and this is sort of going to a dreary, sad place. But when I think I hear a lot of people who aren't in the business, who watch, when someone who's very famous and successful commits suicide, that
Yeah.
then suddenly we're always saying, well, why? Wow, how could they have? They have it all. They have it all. They've got the money. They're successful, and you don't realize it's just like that's just the job. They still have their lives and their own whatever that is. But no matter how successful you are or what you're doing, that's really just work. And it doesn't, those things aren't this, it's not easy all the time. So that's what I always think of. It's not, I think there are a lot of sort of, or notions about this business that people don't see behind, maybe, but
Yeah. Yeah. A lot
not
of
to go
work.
to
Nope.
a negative, dreary place, but
But just a little light information for those considering going in it, right?
yeah, yeah,
Just something
yeah,
to think about. You have to have thick skin, because there is, sometimes there's a lot of no's, right? No.
Yes.
If anybody has
Well,
fear of rejection, that could be tough too. If
yeah.
you have fear of any of that.
I think it goes back to the thing when you were asking about advice. I mean, I do think what actors starting out need to what makes it a little bit easier is if they realize that, all the times they don't get something if they go to audition, it's usually not about them. It
Right.
doesn't necessarily have to do with anything with talent. It's just there's so many other things that go into those decisions. There's just so many other things. It's usually not about them at all. And that you just have to learn to walk in, audition, leave, and don't think about it again.
Right.
And
You got to move on. Keep moving forward.
yes,
Keep,
if you take that personally every time, you'll never, ever, because you got to audition thousands of times, for all sorts of stuff. And I think you do have to have a thick skin. You're right.
Kathleen in New York asks, if you weren't an actor director, what else would you want to do? What would be that other thing?
I think still, I always think about politics. Yeah. I mean, I just feel like, yeah, I think I would want to do that.
Merlin asks about, of course, the Wall Street Journal 2014 Director of the Year, what that was for.
Oh, I don't remember, but I know a few times the Wall Street Journal has, I've had I think 3 productions that they said were the classic production of the year.
The Crucible, you think?
Not that year. That was just recent, but there have been 3 different. But 2014 was, I think, one of the productions I did was one of those that it was production. I think I had done a production of The Seagull that then that he said was his classical production of the year, and then he called me director of the year. That I think that's what that was for, was The Seagull that I did with my own company in the city. And yeah. And he, Terry Teach out of the Wall Street Journal's just been a real. He's been amazing for me because he likes the work and he always writes nice things, and it's helpful, to get those, as much as we don't want to have to deal with reviews, you really, you take
part of it.
Break. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I mean,
And if they're good, grab them.
If they're good, yeah, and they're not always, but Wall Street Journal's definitely been good for me and my company, because he's just been a fan, and he's even been a real fan of other work I've done outside of my company. But
yeah,
and the New York Times has been too, and you just have to embrace it. No, it's part of the business, I guess. It's you got to sell tickets.
Yeah, got to keep it moving. What are some of the things that continue to move you and inspire you to do the work that you do, Eric?
Yeah, that's a good question, because it's, with having almost now going on a year of not a lot happening, and I think a lot of people questioning, what will theater be like when we come back and things like that. It's been hard because I don't see pieces of theater, so I'm not watching things that would inspire me, but so it's really been mostly things that I've seen on television and films and things like that. But I'm not so sure that I'm always feeling inspired in a way that makes me feel like this is all I want to do. I feel like I know, and I've had these conversations with people recently, other people actors and writers, directors who coming out of this pandemic are thinking, what else could I be doing? What else can I do? What else should I do? That what I've been doing isn't the be all end all, maybe, or maybe won't be there when we're back, or will I have the same career? Will I have the same, path? And it's been, I think, healthy to think of maybe other options or other things that are fulfilling that, so I've thought about those things, like, well, maybe that's a chapter, and I don't know what it's going to be like when we come back. But I mean, one thought I have, you asked this earlier, but I certainly have thought, I would be very fine going into TV and film for a while and not doing theater for a while. I'm sure the pandemic has made so many people rethink a lot of things.
Oh, they are. They're rethinking relationships and they're rethinking careers and next chapter and what have I done, with my life thus far and where do I want to go? And yeah, I mean, you're even getting choked up about it. It runs deep.
I
It
can't.
runs deep. I tell you,
Yeah.
it's. I hope that's wine.
Teary-eyed.
I know it's a tough thing.
No, I just had something caught in my throat. I wish it was wine. I didn't come
I
prepared.
know. Well, I have this fancy glass, but the only thing in it is Trader Joe's pink lemonade. But it
Oh,
but it
man.
looks like it's not, right? It looks
I
very
thought you had like a cosmopolitan or something. I thought, oh,
nah. Pink lemonade. Well, who's enjoyed this conversation this evening? Who is one of our sidekicks? George Burns,
that's old school.
isn't it?
That is old school.
And do you like old school?
Oh, yeah.
So do I.
Well, I mean, for many of us, he was God.
That's
Right?
right. That's right. He was in that movie.
Oh
That's
my
it,
God.
huh?
He was fantastic. That's hysterical. Does
Isn't
it
it?
talk?
No, it's actually he's got the cigar and the whole bit, and
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
this actually it's supposed to be wrapped in cellophane and in a box and everything. I took him out for the show many months ago, and we've got the I Dream of Jeannie bottle, and we've got the Gilligan back there, the little miniature Gilligan that was sent by Bob Denver's wife, Dream of Denver, who was a guest on the show.
That's so cool.
She's and he's like a bobblehead type thing. This was my aunt's, and she collected dolls. And then when this came out, when he turned 100, I guess there was a limited supply of commemoratives. He's on a pedestal, and it's the whole thing. He's got the cigar, and
wow.
So
that's cool. I love the I Dream of Jeannie bottle.
Cool. Yeah, that's back there, and he's sort of my my Ed McMahon.
Yeah. Well, I think that's perfect.
Yeah.
Who is it that isn't Betty White just turned 99?
99.
Yeah, that's 99.
Fantastic. Isn't that amazing?
It is so cool. I hope,
she's always been pleasant, and she laughs, and she doesn't take life too seriously.
Yeah.
When Alan Ludden, her husband, passed away, who of course everybody knows from hosting Password, one of the creators of Password, and much more. She never remarried, and she still stayed in love with him, and she just has a joy about her, and she's always laughing, she's always smiling, and she's just always looked at life in that way. And there is something to that. There's something to that. You get through,
Yeah, that she just has that attitude that, and the way of it. Maybe that's the fountain of youth. Really is. I mean, that, living without so much tension, or because that really, it leads to health problems. But I actually think it's interesting, because I think now in the past many years, because she's getting older, she's kind of become, we sort of, I don't know, write her off as, well, Betty White, and she's been around. But when you really look at her work, she was brilliant. I mean, her work on Mary Tyler Moore, and phenomenal actor.
Life with Elizabeth, which was even before that.
Even Golden Girls. I mean, she just could do so many things. She's really something.
And what was the other one? Hot in Cleveland, which was more recent.
Yeah, that was that was, I think, maybe her last. Well, she's always working. She's still working.
Yeah. Dolly Parton is 75 today. True. Another legend. 75.
Wow, today. Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Happy birthday, Dolly. Yeah.
She's amazing.
Amazing, huh?
What a figure she is. Amazing. Yeah.
Anybody you wish that you met that either is with us now or is no longer with us?
I don't know. I get so intimidated by when I really, love a great actor. I find it difficult to talk. I don't know why. I mean, if I'm really kind of starstruck, I don't know if you know that stage, and now more and more film actor Mark Rylance, who's he's a brilliant stage actor, and he's won a couple Tonys, and he's done some amazing shows on Broadway recently, but now he's won an Oscar recently. He's been in a lot of Spielberg films recently, and he's phenomenal. And I saw a show of his on Broadway. He was doing a production of Richard III a few years ago. And I, like you, or I was, anyway, I was seated on stage, and they had some on stage seating, and before the show, he was sort of walking around kind of in character or something. Just, they were all out doing different things, and he was walking around going around saying hi to everybody in the gallery on stage. And most of the people on stage seemed to be people who weren't necessarily actors or in the business. A lot of, just people who were a lot of tourists, I think, too. And people were just freely talking to him, like, "Oh, this guy's walking around before the show talking," and he was really getting a real good conversation with people. And then he got to me and my friend, who actually, this is hysterical, but my friend who went to the thing with me is Jack Lemmon's granddaughter. Anyway, and we were both sitting there and kind of clammed up, like couldn't talk to him because I was so like, oh my God, it's Mark Rylance. And I was so starstruck, and I don't know, sometimes I feel like I'd rather not meet them if I'm really, because I'm just like a little kid. I'm so dumb. So
it's a tough thing. Like if you have to work with somebody that you extremely admire and look up to, and I've had that a little bit sometimes with people that I've had on set or I've had to interview, and you're kind of like, okay, now how do I make sure that the camera doesn't show the drool?
Yeah, I know.
You got to make sure, like, there's that balance between being the fan and being the professional.
Yeah,
And some people, when they recognize you're a fan of them, they love it and they run with it, and they're like, "Oh, that's awesome, appreciate it." And there are those who will be like, they get that all day long. They're not,
they
thanks,
don't want
but next type thing, right? And,
well, it's not comfortable. Yeah, you don't want. Yeah, it's not comfortable.
No, you have to do it. You got to play it right. Exactly. Yeah. Well, this has been awesome. I can't believe we've chatted for like almost 2 hours here.
I love it.
It flies by, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does actually.
What do you have coming up on the bucket list in addition to what you're working on now? Other things that even for you personally that you would like to do and that you'd want to do?
Well, it's funny because being
that's a big question. I know.
Well, being in lockdown, sort of in mostly quarantine, like we all are, and and then with the holidays having just passed, and we weren't able to go and be with family and stuff. I'm really looking forward to the time when I can, get around it, because I have a lot of family like out in Idaho and places who haven't met my kids yet, or and it'd be nice to be able to be with people again. And I'm really looking forward to that. Just being able to be with people. Yeah, will be amazing. I can't even imagine. It's weird now watching things on TV or film, things that were shot before the pandemic, when you see crowd scenes and stuff.
No masks and all, right?
What is that like? Yeah, will we ever be back to that? I don't know. I don't know. What will life be like? It's very.
We shall see.
It's a historical time.
Yeah, it really. Yeah, it really. This has been a real pleasure, my friend, and
thank you. Thank you.
Good luck with everything, and you're welcome back anytime. And I certainly hope that the show met whatever expectations you had, and that you enjoyed your time with me as much as I certainly have with you.
Absolutely, thank you. I'm going to say it was my pleasure.
No problem.
Right. No, I'm never saying that again.
No worries.
No worries.
You're never going to say it again. You're going to be right. And you're going to strive for excellence instead of perfection, right? Yep.
Yes. I actually learned some good stuff here. So this is helpful.
And no copay either on the Jim Master Show Live. No copay. Everybody says it's like a therapy session. And I say, well, no copay.
That's good. Yeah.
Kathleen says, thanks for hanging with us, Eric. Stay safe.
You, Kathleen, that's nice.
Bernadette says, please stay safe, stay well, and happy second birthday to your daughter.
That's nice. Thank you, Bernadette.
And thank you so much, especially for my teenager. You've been so personable, humble, witty, great role model, aspiring performer. And Why does time in Lovely Hall go so quickly? Great conversation, Eric. Thank you.
It
I
does.
know. And it's like almost 2 hours, but I'd like to make it warm and comfortable and inviting. It was a lovely evening.
Oh,
Love Bedlam and Wozniak.
yes. Thank you,
Thank you.
Anne. I know who Anne is.
Juanita in South Africa, still with us late into the
Oh my
wee morning
gosh.
hours. Eric, thank you for your time and sharing your life and stories with us. Keep well. And of course, our friend June, can't wait
Right,
for the
Jen.
series.
Me neither.
Absolutely. And thank you, Eric and Jim. Absolutely, June. You got it. Absolutely. And big smiles from Willie watching late into the night in the Netherlands.
Wow. I
Yeah.
love all these messages that that it's so interactive. It's amazing.
We have quite a community here.
Oh,
Francis
cool.
has enjoyed this conversation with you, Eric. Sherry
Thank you,
says
man.
it was so wonderful meeting you, Eric. Please come back soon, especially since you're a lovety now.
That's right.
That's right. Keep us posted on everything too. I would love to know
I
more.
will.
Let's stay in touch. You know, I'm
Okay.
a TV guy myself, so
Okay. Well,
you
yeah,
know,
when the thing comes out or when we're
yeah.
close or something, I'll keep you posted. Just, yeah.
And it's a small world. Who knows? We might be working together one of these days. You
Yeah.
never.
I
That's
know.
one thing you learn in the business
Yes.
too. Is
Yeah.
that's a word to the wise for those coming into the business. You know, stay connected.
Don't burn the bridges. Yeah, that's really
So
the.
many people do.
Yep.
Enjoyed listening to Eric as well. And it's been a pleasure to have you here tonight,
Oh,
Eric. This is the reverse levity. This is the exit levity. Before
yeah.
you had the introductory welcome levity. Now this is the exit levity.
Oh, it's so good. I like that so much.
Kathy in Cleveland. Oh, you're on Instagram as
Yes.
well.
Yes,
Yep.
I am on Instagram. Yes.
Perfect. All right, gang. Thanks for joining us, Eric. This was
Thank
a pleasure.
you so much.
You stay safe and
Thank
you
you.
be
You too.
well. And keep me posted on everything. And we'll welcome you back again soon. Okay.
Okay. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
Okay. All right.
You're going to think
See you
about
soon.
that now all the time, right?
I am. I definitely am.
2:45 a.m. in Holland. Thank you for your stories, Jim, for your show. Eric, thanks for sharing more of your career with us. Great advice. Thank you for an enjoyable conversation as well.
Nice. Oh my gosh.
Take care, my friend.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure. We'll see you again soon.
Okay. All right. Bye-bye.
Oh, one more coming in. Tesla Bella. Thank you, Eric, and thank you, Jim. Sorry I was late, but I didn't want to miss Eric. Welcome to Lovely Hall, Eric.
That's nice.
She's a wonderful friend of the show. She lives in Florida. Eric, she's an actress, comedian, voice artist.
Oh, wow.
And she's a real hoot. Yeah, Tess.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Very, very funny. And now Willie can go to sleep. Good night, everyone, because it's 3:40 a.m. in Holland.
Amazing.
Good night, loveties from Tess. You got the official royal treatment.
Oh, that's amazing. Gosh.
Gold stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, that is very cool.
Ontario, Merlin, good evening. Eric and Jean. Jim, you too. Good night, Merlin. Thanks for joining us. All right. Well, you be well, and let's stay in touch, and we'll chat again soon, okay?
All right. Thank you, Jim.
Go stretch those legs.
Okay.
That's what I tell everybody.
Yeah.
Take care.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Hope you enjoyed it, everybody. It was really a pleasure. And again, really great guest, actor and director Eric Tucker. We got a chance to really touch upon some really cool topics. We meandered through a lot of different subjects, of course, Bedlam as well, and all the different productions and the television series, as well as the stage work, and also, of course, some of his ideas of what it's like working in the business, how he got started, some of the ups and downs, and some of the different things about working in theater and performance and stage. Hope maybe you would learn something as well. We always like to throw a little education and inspiration in there with our light levity, love, and levity as well. And good night to Eric from Francis as well. So gang, we're not here tomorrow. Tomorrow is the presidential inauguration. So we're going to be actually busy. I'm on the air tomorrow professionally. So we're going to be very busy with that. So we will not be here tomorrow. So you have a wonderful Wednesday. And again, we look forward to having you here on Thursday. Thursday, we've got a wonderful actress and singer, and brilliant performer, well known. She's worked with Frank Sinatra. I mean, she's worked with so many people. We're going to have a wonderful time. Julie Budd is going to be here on Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. That's this Thursday. Actress and singer Julie Budd. Again, she's worked with some of the greats. She is one of the greats. And we're so honored to have her joining us here on our show on Thursday. And then, as mentioned, on Friday, we have dream analyst and author Patricia Eltinge. She's going to be here on the show. Get those dreams written down because she's going to analyze your dreams live on the air. That's right. Matter of fact, she wants me to think about a couple of dreams that I've had, recurring dreams, and she wants to analyze those live on the air. She is a wonderful dream analyst and also author. And she's got a new book out too. We're going to talk about that. That's this Friday live on the Jim Masters Show. Saturday, actor, singer, and brilliant performer Sam Harris is going to be with us. We're looking forward to that. And on Sunday, Nikita Burston is going to be here. He's a wonderful dancer, actor, and singer. He's going to be with us as well. And next Tuesday, our show is at a special time. Instead of 7 p.m., it's going to be 8 p.m. on our YouTube channel as Rebecca Harkin joins us. Brilliant singer and songwriter, originally from Ireland. She lives in Australia. She happens to be the sister of Keith Harkin from the popular group Celtic Thunder. He was with them originally. He has his own brilliant career. And of course, we had a great conversation with him when he was a guest back in December on our show. Rebecca is going to be here. She's going to perform live as well. She's going to be here on Tuesday, and that's going to be 8 p.m. on our show. So 5 Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. For her in Australia, it's going to be like noon or something. It's going to be the next day. It's going to be Wednesday in Australia, but it's going to be Tuesday here because they're obviously ahead of us. So that's next Tuesday. And of course, coming up in about a week or so, Anson Williams, who was, of course, Potsy on Happy Days, and much, much more. He's going to be with us as well. So again, we're not here tomorrow. We are off tomorrow night. Julie Budd will be joining us on Thursday. Wonderful actress and singer and performer, again, who has a brilliant, brilliant career. And she's amazing. She's been around long time. She worked the Vegas Strip and so much more. And she's got a brilliant, brilliant career. And she's going to be joining us as well. Saying goodnight to the Lovities as well. And it's a pleasure to see all of you. Good night, Kathy. Love it. Good night. Enjoy your night off. I look forward to Thursday. See you then. You too, Kathy, as well. Juanita, good night. Everybody have a great day tomorrow as well. You too. Thanks for being with us, gang. Appreciate it. And thank you, Francis. You also have a wonderful Wednesday. Peaceful sleep tonight. You too as well. Kathleen, thank you very much. We'll see you on Thursday. We'll be back on Thursday. It's a busy day for me tomorrow with the inauguration and all. So we're going to be here on Thursday. Well-deserved night off for you tomorrow night. Thank you, Karen Campbell Green. I appreciate that in Nova Scotia. And good night, June. XOXOXO. Night, you as well, my friend. And Mary Bishop. Good night, Jim and Lovely friends. Take care. You as well. Gang, we love you all. You take care. You be well. Enjoy tomorrow, and we shall see you. We'll see you on social media as well. You can find me on YouTube at Jim Masters TV. We'd love it if you subscribe to that channel if you haven't yet, and click that notification bell so you don't miss any of our great content. And also, you know where I am on Facebook at Jim Masters TV as well. And Maureen says, I know you'll be putting in long hours tomorrow, Jim, but thank you for everything you do to bring us these lovely evenings. My pleasure, Maureen. So happy to know you enjoy it. You have a good night as well. See you Thursday. Good night, Jim and lovely friends. Take care. You as well in Pine Island, Florida. And good night to you, Bernadette, as well, and all the lovelies watching the Jim Masters Show live. Good night, everyone, from Francis as well. Thanks for a great show, Jim. Looking forward to Friday with the Dream Analyst. Good night, Jim, and all the lovelies. Stay safe, all. You as well, Christine Clifton in North Carolina. All right, gang. It's Jim Masters. Thanking you for your time. This time till next time, you be well. You stay safe. Positive spirits. brand new day tomorrow. So there's a lot of hope in the air, and we hope peace as well. We're all in this together. Good night. Stay safe. Kathleen in New York City. We love you all, and thanks for being a part of the Jim Master Show Live. We hope these shows give you a good time when you tune in with us, because we enjoy having these guests, but we also enjoy the time with all of you from all around the world, our lovities on the Jim Master Show Live. Good night, everybody. We'll see you on Thursday. Another comment coming in, and smiles from Karen in Nova Scotia. And Tesla Bella, have a great day tomorrow, Jim. Thanks, Tess. Take care. Love you as well. We'll see you all on Thursday with our great guest, Julie Budd. She's going to be amazing. Peace. You got it. Absolutely. Peace on earth and everywhere. All right, gang. We're going to sail off. Love that turtleneck. Thank you very much. Nice and warm and snug. Really, really nice. Thanks. I appreciate that, Karen. All right, gang. We're going to go have some, I think we're going to have a popsicle. I like to have something soothing and cool and refreshing after talking for a couple of hours like this. So it's a nice, I think it's a key lime popsicle. Yeah. Nice day tomorrow in the U.S. Absolutely, Willie. Thank you very much. Big day here in the United States tomorrow as well. Good night. And good night to all of you. Jim Masters, your friend here, saying good night, be well. We love you all. We thank our very special guest, actor and director Eric Tucker, for spending a good amount of time with us here on the program. And we appreciate all of you. Continue to spread the word. Tell everybody about our show. Everybody asks, what can we do to help the show? Spread the word. Love the YouTube channel, and subscribe to it, and the Facebook page, Instagram, and Twitter, all those great places as well. And tell everybody you know about the show so more people continue to tune in and enjoy. Spread the word, spread the levity about the Jim Masters Show Live. All right, gang, you be well, okay? You take care, and we shall see you on Thursday. Have a good night. Bye-bye.